Welcome to Own Yours. My name is Alisha Cooper Wells. I'm known as Miss Cooper Home Loans, and I wear this key because I believe key stands for knowledge empowers you. It's also my grandmother's house key, and I walk with my ancestors daily. I've been charged with the responsibility to help you own yours.
I'm Christopher Pitt, Mr. Pursuit to Own. My main job is to get you from watching to winning, from observing to ownership. So we're here to do that today.
So today we have a special episode of Own Yours because we had questions. And if you guys want to have your questions answered live, please make sure you engage with us on our personal social media pages.
Absolutely.
We do have a lot of questions. But we promise we're going to try to get to them as quickly as possible so that we can answer them live for you like today.
We're here, people. We're here to help. A lot of feedback, a lot of questions, but it makes everybody better. Like when you learn, a smart man, don't fall for the same mistake. A smarter man learn from somebody else's mistake is what they tell me. So
learn from our mistakes.
There you go. We got plenty of them. Stay tuned.
So this deal that was brought to us, one of the things when it comes to purchasing investment real estate, okay? Yes. So pull out your notepad. We're here to give you some tips first so that you can understand what we're talking about when it comes to these deals. When you're buying real estate, it's important to know if you're buying residential or commercial. When it comes to residential real estate, that's usually a property that's 1 to 4 units. Right. And commercial real estate is real estate that's more than 4 units or zoned commercial.
Correct. And the piggyback on it, what makes it really different is like when you're looking at a 1 to 4 unit, you're mostly talking about appreciation, right? But when you get into the commercial space, it's more about the numbers, meaning, hey, what kind of rents can we get here? Hey, what is the cap rate for that area? And then you can have forced appreciation. So a commercial is really different from residential. We need to know the difference between the two.
So when you have real estate, we need to know that. So if you want to give us an address, if you're worried about sending an address on the page, we need to know because it makes a difference on the type of plan that will usually work for the deal. So when this particular deal is a property that is residential, it's a single family home, and someone is like, hey, I'm getting a deal.
Got a deal.
Got a deal.
Got a deal. What kind of deal did we get?
Hey. But we're here to let you know, deal or no deal.
That's right. I love it. Deal or no deal.
So when it comes to residential real estate, we want to know, is it a deal or no deal? They want, and this is what makes it so unique. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Seller financing.
You didn't go there. Is that a dirty word in real estate? Seller finance. Do people know about seller financing? Is that a bank?
The seller is your bank.
Wow. You can do that?
You sure can.
Wow. Take notes, people.
Hey, so seller financing, people get really excited about, but one of the pieces of seller financing and why it's usually an option is that the banks don't like the deal.
Or something is missing from the deal that makes it bankable. Right?
So give us a few examples of what those bankable pieces that you've seen missing.
I would say a few things. When you say seller finance, to me, that means something is normally not of the norm. Either it is a cash flow issue or there is somewhat of an exit problem. So I would just tell you one creative thing I can give an example of. I know a couple of gentlemen that I work with. They took over property that was over leveraged, right? So therefore,
so slow us down.
Oh, slow you down. Okay.
Over leverage. What does that mean?
Meaning that this property had more money or fund or loans on it than it's worth, and they were stuck in a very difficult
underwater.
Underwater, people, not a good place to be. But in theory, it doesn't mean that it's over. It's a part of real estate. Right. It happens to the best of us, right? But in that particular scenario, he couldn't just sell it, right? If he sell it, he had to go to the bank and ask you, can you please do this thing called short sale? I don't know if you want to like grant me $100,000 and just write it off and all that fun stuff. So they wasn't willing because to your point, it was a hot market. They're like, no, we're not doing it, right? So one of the things we talked about was to how do you utilize that property, right? And the fastest way I saw deemed fit was Airbnb. You heard of Airbnb?
Yeah.
So again, you're looking at the revenue, they was getting this set rent of, I don't know, $1,200. But it was in a great location. I knew that. Underwater.
Now, this is a commercial property.
This is actually a residential.
Okay.
One. And what he did was we took it over and he did seller financing. The only thing about seller financing, what people get it's all you're doing is agreeing to terms. That's what makes it unique, right? It's nothing the same. You make the deal.
You make the deal
right?
on yours.
Right.
It's your deal. You present the deal you want the seller to take. It's important about it is your deal.
Right. You're helping them solve a problem, right? So in this particular scenario, we knew we couldn't rent it out. We knew we couldn't sell it, right? The only thing you can do is improve your revenue stream. And, that was when Airbnb is really, going well. So that property went from...
So Airbnb, also known as short-term rentals, what's the other with the V? Verbo.
Yes.
So it's not limited exclusively to the household name Airbnb.
No, we're just talking about short-term rentals, not supporting either one. What I'm saying is support the strategy, people. The strategy, that's what matters. So it's not a deal if you take it to a normal bank. But by changing it, understanding the exit plan and having a business plan that worked, we was able to take a property that was making only $1,000 in rent with vacancies to a property that was bringing in $8,000 to $9,000 a month, because it was in a great location on Airbnb. So now we was able to pay that debt down. And once we got to that point, then the person can actually have a normal transaction to take the property over.
So you just saw how with seller financing, it's important to know the problem, right? And understand that there's usually an issue, right? That makes it not bankable. So bring your deals to us and we can show you live and we can go through the numbers. So this particular property is located in Wilmington, Delaware. Zip code is 19805.
I know some people there.
And they're super excited to get this single family home for $125,000.
Okay.
The home needs some light cosmetic, but it's actually already operable. It has a tenant inside of it. And that tenant is paying $1,500 a month for rent. Okay.
Where's the problem?
So here's the problem. The client doesn't think they have a problem. The client is like, I have a deal.
I got a renter.
I got a $1,500. They want to sell it to me for $125,000. No brainer.
Went on Redfin. Don't worry about it.
This is the deal that they structured. Remember, with seller financing, you're structuring your deal. So we're going to tell him, hey, you're going to have to go back and do a little more restructuring to make this work for an immediate cash flow if you want the rent to cover
the debt.
There
you go.
Which is also, you've seen very popular, the DSCR loan, the debt service coverage ratio.
Oh, don't hurt them.
That simply means that your rent is enough to cover the debt payment. So this is the part that's boring. This is where people don't want to get into, but
you have to
be able to see do you really have a deal. So purchase price, $125,000. Down payment and closing costs will be $37,500.
Doesn't sound like 5% to me.
No. They're actually putting down a little bit more than 20%.
And why would they do that in seller financing?
Well, the seller needs the immediate money.
Number one.
Because they're not getting a mortgage from the bank that's going to give them the whole $125,000 today.
So back to structuring the deal, understand what that seller needs to be able to continue their plan to go forward. If you can't provide enough down payment to get them out of their situation, you have no deal. So understand that.
All right. Deal or no deal. So if you cannot provide what they need to make that initial movement, that might for them to sell, to fix their credit, to put down on another property, you're going to have to come up with that initial cash. But that cash can come from creative ways. When you're doing investment properties, you're not having to just have the money sitting in your checking account. You could be using money from the city. You could be using money from credit cards.
That's right.
So you can get creative in how you come up with that down payment and closing cost money. But this is not to be confused with down payment assistance when you're buying a home. No. This is not to be confused with a first-time home buyer program where you might only need 5% down or 0% down. you're going to have to give that seller something.
Correct.
Now, that would make a loan amount of $87,500. We got a term. The seller only wants to be in this deal for 5 years. It is very important.
Terms, people, terms.
When you are putting together your deal, that you let them know how long you're looking for them to finance this deal, because most sellers are not going to do a 30-year mortgage.
What? Why would they do that? I mean, it's a great deal. I can give you money for 30 years. You don't want that?
So when we show you the numbers, right, we're going to show you what the payment looks like for 5 years.
Right.
So break that down if I was going to get this incremental amount for the next 30 years.
Wow. Now we're talking.
So the interest rate that the seller has partially agreed to, because we're going to have to go back to these terms. Some of you partial.
Right.
Is 9%, which is a very good
favorable
interest rate for seller financing.
Right. Again, you can't be thrown off because of the interest rate. Understanding what you're using that money for. Put it in perspective, people. You're not getting 2% money for a seller finance deal.
This, again, is not a first-time home buyer program. You are in the world of capitalism. You are in the world of business, okay? People can charge for money whatever they want. It is not subsidized by the government. Right. So they can charge whatever their heart can cover and a client is willing to pay.
It's very important. So sounds like we got the terms, we got the interest rate, we got the loan amount. So what's the payment?
That's the part. So we have principal and interest when you're financing $87,500, 5 years at 9%. It made the principal and interest $1,817. And how much was the rent?
I thought you said $1,500.
$1,500.
Is that a deal? Are we losing money or making money?
We're already at the point, and we haven't even included yet the other parts of a payment. So the seller is only looking at principal and interest.
That's right.
But you have to consider 2 more things.
Taxes and insurance, people.
Taxes and insurance.
Gotta pay it.
So this property is in Delaware. So the taxes and insurance together are only $200 a month, which is very affordable. You guys buy in Delaware is one of the places where if you need assistance, we can definitely help you with that. And so that makes the whole payment. And when a payment is communicated, we use the term PITI, which is payment, interest, taxes, not payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Boom.
So all of those together gave us a grand total of what?
$2,017.
So the rent, $1,500. And now we know to make this happen with the seller financing deal, we are looking at a payment of $2,017. So is this, though, if we just look at the numbers, we would say no deal.
No deal. But maybe I'm not just looking at the numbers. Maybe I know it is another play at hand.
And that's why it's important to have your exit strategy.
Right.
So with the exit strategy that you have in place, it might make sense for you to take that loss technically and you pay the additional $500 a month because you're acquiring this property for $125,000 and it's going to be paid off in 6 years.
Right.
In 5 years, 60 months. And then you're going to have the cash flow of the rent. And one of the things about rent, it usually goes up every year.
Every year. And wow, maybe if you look and do a little study in the marketplace, you can see that these properties located in what we call a pathway of growth, meaning that there are investments coming into this area. The person just can't wait it out to get the value out, but maybe you can.
So that seller has a problem that they need to solve right now. Right. But if you can wait it out, this could be a deal for you. So if we're going to make a choice and decide, if you and I, right, because they want to know what we do.
Right.
If you and I seen a deal like this, and it is in the pathway of growth,
right,
are we going to say no deal or deal?
For me, I'm going to say I probably can make it a deal if it's in a pathway growth. I'm a big believer. I'm a long-term guy. Like, so I don't really look for the quick, the quick money. But if I can see that thing, because hey, you saying 125, I believe, it's not shocking, or it wouldn't be shocking to see that thing at 230, 250 in 5 years. So yeah, you may have paid $500 out of pocket for a couple of years, but you got back 200,000. And minus all the deductions you get to take from it, depreciation, things you get to write off. So it's a lot of things that play other than just the cash flow.
So for us, this is a deal. If you are in position to make the additional payment every month, if you are a newer investor and you may not have that additional to make a $500 payment every month, this would be a no deal.
Right.
But don't let it just pass you. See if you can pick up the phone and give us a call
Right.
and see if we can help you maybe partner to make this deal happen, or even we may know somebody else who is in the position to take this deal and you could make a commission from a wholesale fee.
That's right. It's many ways to get paid in real estate. That's why it's a beautiful industry to be in. You just got to understand the different ways. It's not just buying a house. It's a whole nother ecosystem you can work through.
Definitely. Now, one of the things to make this seller financing deal come to life, I want you to know you are going to need to have on your team. If you are buying in Delaware, we gave you the zip code of 19805. We are an attorney state. So you will need to have an attorney complete and assist you with your paperwork and file it along with the deed to make sure you actually own the property.
Extremely important. So you need a lawyer on your team. So get to know one today. Awesome. Or ask us. Maybe we know a few.
Hey, we could definitely refer you to some of our connections because we want to see you win and make sure you own yours.
Right.
So my name is Alisha Cooper Wells. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Own Yours. Make sure you engage with us on social media so that we can answer your questions live as well. And please like, subscribe, and follow DETV Own Yours. Alisha Cooper Wells. Check us out.
Christopher Pitt, Mr. Pursuit to Own. Don't be afraid to think big. That is my message for today. If there's a will, there's a way. Take feelings out, deal with the facts. You may have a deal.
Hey, don't be afraid to think big. Thank you, guys.